have Kevin, and we're screen share. You don't look.
Well, we're live now, so.
So, can I say that you look a little under the weather?
I don't look well at all, do I?
No, you do not. In the nicest of possible ways.
I don't know what on earth I'm doing here, but we're going to give this a go. Hello there, everybody. Welcome along to our countdown. We are starting a little bit late. We apologise for that, mostly because we've just been trying to get one or two things up and running and get ourselves all in place for today's show. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. I just want to say ahead of time as well, thank you as well to everybody for their kind words of sympathy for yesterday, for last week. Sorry, because yeah, I'm not, and for that, we're going to get a similar setup today. In that, I'm just going to be doing my best to muddle through. So bear with us. It's going to be an interesting show. Very quickly as well, I just wanted to talk about what I did miss last week in terms of the things that I got up to. I was at Chichester for Meanwhile Comic-Con, which was a fun show. Really enjoyed going down to the south coast. I travelled down on the Friday and was suffering from the cold then. Spent Friday evening and all of Friday night underneath 3 duvets and tried to basically sweat it out. Don't know how the hell I did it. First thing on the morning, went and did Meanwhile Comic-Con when I got to speak to Alan Martin and Warwick Johnson-Cadwell from Tank Girl. Managed to speak to Alan Higgins and Nick McMahon from Judge Dredd from 2000 AD. Did a great small press panel, did a great manga panel, did a great little intimate conversation with Alison Sampson, because she wasn't particularly well known here in the UK. So there was this nice little thing where there was like 5 or 6 people in the room. So we just kind of all sat in the audience chairs and just kind of like gathered around. And people just sort of like floated in. And we just had this kind of really intimate conversation talking about horror in comics, about the skills involved in setting up scares and setting up atmosphere. And it was just a really fun session. I just enjoyed the day. It was just a great show. It was their first one down at Meanwhile. Simon Burks and the team did a fantastic job of putting it together. But I don't know how the hell it happened, but I managed to get through it with lots of tea and plenty of tissues to hand. The second that I stopped, the second the show came to a halt, I just collapsed and died. And therefore, on the back home on Saturday evening, in bed all day Sunday, and that meant that we weren't able to do the show last week. But thank you very much indeed for everyone's kind words. Andrew English, don't sound too cheerful. I'm sorry, I'm going to do my best. I really am going to try. Michael P saying good morning. We've got Graham Small, evening all. Andrew English, not long now till RTX. You know, that show I just don't understand, but then again, it's niche and it's of interest to people, and I have no problem. I'm never going to get in the way of anybody's fandom. So excellent stuff. It's good to hear that that's in the way. That you hear in the background.
Can you hear me, Leonard?
We can indeed. That you hear in the background is Alyssa, who's kind of getting herself in place. She's in the press room. She's in the press room at New York Comic-Con at the moment, and we will be doing a live report from there in a second. Tonight we have an early Halloween show, Night of the Living Leonard. If I could feel like a vampire, alive, feel more with it, I would do, but there we go. Karen's session, get more rest. I'd love to. I really would, but that's not the case. I mean, even if I was, I cancelled going any kind of desperate hopes that I was going to go to New York Comic-Con on Friday night, Even if I did, I think it would have been a case of me on the front cover of the New York Times, basically saying that I was going to be patient zero for a nasty virus going around New York Comic-Con. So there we go. I am going to be hitting the mute button as well a couple of times as I start coughing, and I'm going to do my best to try to avoid that. So bear with me.
Yeah. Hang on one second. I mean, let me talk here just for a minute so you get an idea of what happened last week. We did try and do a show, but I could not find anybody to come along with us. Currently today, I've got for about 10 minutes. We've got Kevin Whalen, who has attended a number of press rooms and is going to be joining me in a second as Leonard as Leonard coughs. I am I've got a stationary setup this week on top of the convention floor, and I will be showing some pictures of it in a moment when Leonard is unable to speak.
Okay.
We may be actually just panning to the floor and letting you see the setup.
Fair enough.
But without further ado, would you like to start the show, Leonard?
Might as well do the intro. Yeah, absolutely. Welcome along to Talkin Comic-Con, a cup of tea in Englishman in San Diego. My name's Leonard Sultana, and this is our weekly show where we talk San Diego Comic-Con, con culture, and all the stuff and nonsense that goes around with it. Once again, thank you very much indeed to everyone for their patience for last week, but we are back, and we are going to get into a whole bunch of news this week, including San Diego Comic-Con. We've got some announcements coming out from them as we get ourselves ready for the returning registration badge sale. We've got a couple of cons that have introduced their lineups. We've got some stuff from Stanley's LA Comic-Con. Lots of stuff we're going to get into, but of course the main thing that's happening this week is New York Comic-Con, which is taking place at the Javits Center in downtown New York in Manhattan. And yes, let's go to Alyssa from the Friends of Comic-Con Forum. Hello there, you two. How are you?
I'm doing great, Leonard. How are you doing? Come on in, Alyssa. Yeah, we're having a good time. And Javits, just by the way, is not downtown New York. It is Midtown.
Midtown. I do apologize. Yeah.
We're on the west side, and this place is busy. The con has been, I would say, very well attended from Thursday straight through until today. Today is pretty much more Kids' Day, so there are a lot more children and families, I would say, traversing the aisles and all the booths and everything like that. But there are some good things that are going on at this con. A lot of surprises. Michelle Yeoh showed up at the Star Trek Discovery panel yesterday. They screened 20 minutes of the Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. premiere during the panel. And actually, Alyssa, you jump in here.
Sorry, I'm just trying to get that light out of it.
I'm determined what we're going to get. When any kind of funds available, I'm going to get a little mini mixer so we can have multiple headphones and stuff, because we've got to try and get this sorted. But anyway, no. Well, I mean, we'll try and get the pair of you on your thoughts on this, because Kevin did say then it's been well attended, and I've been seeing pictures. It's been looking manic. It's been looking massive. I mean, what's been your sense of it this year? I mean, has it been too much? What would you say?
It's been crazy. It's been crazy. Sorry about that. We're trying to get this sorted here. A lot of people, there seem to be some problems with the queuing up first thing. The shoots seem to work well. The lottery lines, I think there may be some issues with regards to that coming out soon. How did you find the lines for the panels? Oh, did you do any lines at all, Kevin?
No, not really.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've pretty much been a little bit more of a free wall. I was fly on the wall, so I did not really experience any real line issues per se. The lottery was a disappointment for me on my side because I didn't really win anything. But hey, that's what happens with drawings when you have 80-some-odd-thousand individuals trying to go for the same thing that you're interested in.
Yeah, I mean, it did seem from what I could gather that just reading social media, just the lotteries generally, a lot of people were disappointed. They only kind of like had maybe 1 or 2 hits amongst their choices.
Yeah, I received, from my personal experience, I only got the gifted, which is today. But unfortunately, I have some scheduling challenges. I brought my daughter today, so I'm not sure if she'll be able to sit through a whole panel. For a 7-year-old, that for a show that she hasn't seen yet. But she is experiencing her first con and she's having fun, but she's, I would say, not overwhelmed, but is kind of shocked to see this mass of people here.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly, I mean, I know that you go down to the artist, or certainly Alyssa goes down to Artist Alley as well. I mean, just the lines and the amount of crowds that we've seen, and you're saying there it has felt a little overwhelming. Has it felt more than usual?
Yeah, I would say a little bit more because of the redesign, but Artist Alley I did go into yesterday. I'm not usually an Artist Alley type of person, but the room was very busy, and it is a little bit warmer than everywhere else. So I say a good 10 degrees hotter than, but New York this year, for some reason, this has been a very warm October for us. So everything, the weather forecast was supposed to be usually here around 60s, 70s, maybe 70, 70 tops, but it's been pretty much 70 closer to 80. And then for Artist Alley, it's downstairs in where used to be the Empire Room or Empire Stage. So now that room is pretty much taken over as Artist Alley, and it's, I would say when I walked down there yesterday, it was pretty busy.
Yeah, I mean, I've been seeing a number of announcements on Twitter from artists basically saying, can we please have the AC on, because it's been a bit tight around the edges. What's been the mood with that?
Try out something here.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, you there?
Yeah, we're here.
Okay.
Cool.
You're there?
I can hear him. I can hear you.
Yeah. And I can hear you as well. Fantastic. Okay, well, I mean, we just talked there about the amount of people that has ramped up in New York. What's been the mood then? Because obviously when you've got that amount of people and there's more in the room and it feels closer and tighter, what's been the mood on the floor?
I've talked to a couple of artists and I've talked to a number of people in Artist Alley and patrons, and the general feeling is that it's hot. It's not so bad for the artists because they're sitting, but if you're carrying and walking anything, it's really hard. The AC is having a real hard time keeping up. So I anticipate maybe some changes. I'm not quite sure what they may do, but I anticipate a few readjustments for next year with regards to Artist Alley. Yeah. It seems packed in there.
It's definitely packed, but I would say you just tend to walking a little bit slower.
Oh yeah, it's like,
you walk a little slower. Take it easy. That's the whole thing. Your body's going to generate a little bit more heat when you start walking. I'm not going to talk about NYCC Fit, but basically, everyone's trying to rush to get somewhere, but you just have to take it easy and relax.
Sure. Well, I mean, I was trying to bring up the mood in the room, because you can usually get a sense of the crowd.
To be honest, I don't know the mood in Artist Alley. It seems like in general, the people on the floor are kind of, they're more open. I don't know if if I could say that. It's so, because it's so subjective. However, it seems like New York, the clientele of New York Comic-Con is becoming more part of the Comic-Con culture. Yeah. And understanding that it's about give and take.
Yeah.
That kind of feeds back.
Yeah.
That feeds back.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I was going to say.
Go on.
I was going to say pretty much. The conversations that I'm overhearing, there are a lot of folks that are pretty much either new to the con or new to the bigger experience. So I kind of hear I would say that not the noob, but the novice approaching this. So their mood is a little bit more of an excitement and trying to walk around, trying to look around a little bit more. But also I noticed with the increased traffic on even Thursday and Friday, it's not like a hostile crowd or a mean crowd. It's pretty much everyone just trying to walk around and say, oh, let's go check this out. Or they get enthused by the activities in the booths. So there's one particular booth by Hallmark that I think it's Ninja Go or something like that. Something that's beyond me right now. I can't recall which book it is. And you could hear the folks screaming to do their enactment for their particular video session. And I'm telling you, they are enjoying it. So when I talk about mood, you hear screaming for like aisles away of excitement. I just tried out the
it doesn't
Gifted. It was actually very interesting. They had some good giveaways. A friend of mine won a $15 gift card too, and my daughter got a bag of Skittles. so it's fun stuff, good stuff.
Excellent stuff. I mean, certainly, Alyssa, if I can quickly ask, I mean, certainly when we had at San Diego, we kind of felt a change in the air with the people that were attending. Has that permutated to New York at all, or is it still very much a upbeat crowd, or is it just a New York crowd anyway?
Well, you've got the whole New York thing, but it seems very upbeat. I haven't I've seen a lot of familiar faces in the same booth. It seems in general, I think it's a great crowd. You know, there's a lot of people here. Thursday felt like there was a lot of people. So I think they kind of oversold Thursday a little bit. A lot of people were talking about that. However, Saturday didn't seem that busy. I do know that the stuff that has been brought here, I just saw not a trailer. I actually saw the first episode for a mid-season show on ABC called Deception. And they brought the whole cast. They brought the producers. They did this for the Shannara Chronicles too. I know that there's a lot of serious talent being poured into New York Con. They want to get people excited for these things.
Yep. So yeah, definitely. This is, I hate to use the term, but it's kind of like a mid-season primer for a lot of TV series. Like the whole cast for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was here. The Gifted, the cast is here, but that's that just premiered on this past Monday. Gotham just premiered, and they have the cast here as well.
The Runaways.
Runaways is that's teed up for, I forgot what the release date is for that, but that's coming up, and that's going to be on Hulu, right?
Yes.
Hulu. So another streaming platform that we have to go subscribe to.
But of course. Well, I mean, okay, let's dive into that then. I mean, certainly the things that we've been getting out of New York Comic-Con of the live streams, because we've had streams from the main stage, second stage, and MSG as well. And it's been great to see the actual content hitting the wider world so people can actually see. I was really glad to get the chance to see the Jeff Johns Watchmen panel, for example, that was live streamed from DC. What has been the highlights for panels for yourself in terms of what you have seen?
I'll let you go, Alyssa. Go ahead.
I have two. The first one was the John Burns Byrne.
You managed to get into it. You managed to get into it.
And Walt Simonson panel. And oddly enough, I went in. They don't clear the rooms in their 300-seat rooms, and I was able to get into the panel just before for Mad magazine, which was absolutely dead on hilarious. Why was I surprised? Saw John Coffey, a famous Mad creator. And but so that panel, and I do have that in audio. I'm hoping to put that up so people can take a listen to it. So hardcore people. John Byrne, just, you know, dry, sarcastic, love it. I'm like right there with him. The other one I really enjoyed was the Shannara Chronicles. They showed a 10-minute clip, and it's taken it to a whole nother level of post-apocalyptic man, elf versus troll versus just Golden Gate Bridge, decimated in San Diego, San Francisco. So those were my two highlights. What were yours, Kevin?
Well, for me, this is, I would say, going to hit like a sore point for some folks, but I attended the Pacific Rim panel, which was fantastic. The room was electric. We saw the trailer for the upcoming movie. The main leads were all there, and John Boyega, who's also produced the movie, he was also in attendance, and that was, for me, fantastic. I loved the first movie, and I'm looking forward to the second one. The Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. panel was great. They showed the first 20 minutes, and the crowd, the whole panel, and this is inside of the MSG, was, I think, around 6,500 people. That was packed. Beforehand, I
saw a couple of photos from that panel, and everyone looked like they were having fun on stage as well, which was good.
They had fun on stage, and Ian DeCasta, I can't pronounce his name, but Ian kissed
Jeff Loeb.
I'm forgetting his name. Jeff Loeb on the lips, smack on the lips in the panel, and Jeff Loeb collapsed in playful form. So it was a very good, collaborative, family spirited panel. You could tell that the cast gets on very well together, and also I went to the signing as well, and you could tell that they were all having fun. Great cast, great show. I did stop in for a few minutes at the Shadowhunters panel, and that crowd was I don't watch the show, so I'll be honest with you, but the crowd was electric for that as well. They were very enthusiastic for that series.
Isn't that on like Freeform?
Freeform, yes, it's ABC Freeform.
I've got it. I even have that on my network on my cable lineup channels. I've got to catch that. They probably stream too, but that's been a big presence.
Yes, and then going on to CBS, I attended for a few minutes of the Star Trek Discovery panel. So that whole cast was there, and then Michelle Yeoh showed up as a surprise cameo. I unfortunately missed that because I had another obligation. So those for me were highlights. The other highlights for me were meeting Mark Hamill.
You managed to pull that off then? Deep pockets, unfortunately, but yes, it cost a pretty penny. But he was very personable, very nice. We talked for a few minutes, and it was pretty nice. And then Felicity Jones, and then of course Peter Capaldi as Dr. Who, and then Pearl Mackie. They were all fantastic. So for folks that don't do autographs or kind of feel that celebrities, when you do the autographs, they pretty much don't look up or do anything, they were all very engaging. We talked for a few minutes. Capaldi took the time, and I've witnessed him do it over 2 days. He took the time to talk with the fans each for a good minute or two, and had personal conversations, and also he was willing to personalize the photos in ways that were specific to that interaction. So he personalized my photo. It was really cool. And so all these, some folks might not like him as a doctor sometimes, but the guy is just a straight up gent, fantastic gentleman. I unfortunately have to pop off because I have this little one here. You've got somebody who wants to get the hell out of here. I can see that.
Yes, and she's doing a little bit of cosplay, but she needs to kind of get walking and catch up with some family friends. So I'm going to pop off here. Leonard.
Any last questions for him?
No, I think
any last questions?
Kevin, I'll tell you what, we'll look forward to seeing your articles go up on Friends of Comic-Con forum. I'm looking forward to seeing your reflections of the show, sir.
Oh, thank you very much. I'll catch you later.
Take care, that man. Look after yourself. Excellent stuff. So that's Kevin Warren. Like I say, he does post on the Friends of Comic-Con forum, so do check out what he's got coming up. So certainly he'll do some panel recaps as is his want. We do have a couple of comments on the Q&A, just talking about the things that we were talking about. The Runaways is airing on November 21st in USA. No date or channel for the UK as of yet. Shannara, Graham Small, love the books but can't seem to get into the TV adaptation. There's one or two people I know that kind of gets that.
Yeah.
And Andrew English is saying that season 2, certainly in the UK, it's going to be on 5-star on October the 19th. So you're looking around that kind of time, airing in the US as well.
Let me just say, with regards to the Shannara Chronicles. Oops. Can you hear me?
You can hear you.
Okay. Oh, you can. Okay, great. With regard to the Shannara Chronicles, season 2 is massively different than season 1. Season 1 felt a little bit, I hesitate to say naive. Season 2, not that way at all. It's to be bring up a topic that may be a little touchy. There is a gay relationship between one of the lead characters, the lead female character, and the new character that's brought in. I asked point blank, is this person going to die, a la 100, and was told no. So
well,
that's
number one. I think the other thing that people would be, I mean, for myself, I mean, it's more a case of whether the interaction, whether the relationship feels forced. I mean, for example, we've been confirmed that one of the lead actors or lead characters in Star Trek Discovery is an openly gay character. As long as it's not hit over the head and it is just part of that person's character. Yeah.
It did not seem that way. We saw perhaps a 10 or 15 minute clip. It did not seem that way at all. I would suggest giving it a try. The clips that I saw, and yes, I kind of tapered down on it on the show at the end of season 1. So I may not have seen the end of it, of season 1, but I'm absolutely tuning into season 2. There's going to be a lot more of Manu Bennett in it, a lot more of the interactions between him and the lead character, Will. And they have, the odd thing is that they are in the Terry Brooks novel. He jumps from time to time, and season 2 takes place between novels, so they really have a freedom to explore the environment and wrap up edges. And Terry Brooks is part of the Piers Anthony, sorry, what am I thinking? Is part of the scripting of this. So cool. They're really taking it to a new area. I also saw Deception, which is an ABC mid-season show, and that looks to be absolutely fun. Just really fun.
One thing I have noticed from the programming of New York Comic-Con, they're very much, in certainly the years gone by, they very much focused on big names in terms of headliners to get people at the end of the day through the door. This year they seem to be very much embracing new shows, people, risky things, people that may not, they just kind of like to introduce to people. Would you say that makes sense?
I commented on it to Michael Armstrong when we spoke to him, is that there's a lot more interesting little panels, to my mind, this year. A panel that I desperately wanted to go to was Black Heroes Matter. It's a great slogan, but has such a deep meaning. And from what I heard, the panel was
it was rammed.
Full.
It was rammed.
Yeah,
I've seen pictures. It was standing room only.
Yep. And so that's thrilling. As somebody who grew up when women were discriminated against, and in the music industry that went threefold. Let me tell you, I identify with what people of color are going through 100%. So that was just hard. That was just lovely. These little gems that you take away from Con and its inclusiveness. And I think that to my mind, is one of the neat things about this year at New York Con. I will say there is one other amazing highlight. Everybody out there, follow, for the next major convention, follow eCorp. Do whatever you can to get involved in their parties, because they threw a big one and it was fabulous. Open bar.
Sorry. Who is this again?
eCorp, Mr. Robot.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yep. They rented out a huge, probably 2,000 seat venue. We got to see the first episode before everybody else did. Open bar. I'm just going to repeat that again. Yes, I may or may not have made it to the con early the next day. It was like noon before I got to con. But food was good. They did lovely, lovely activations. But I think the thing that was really nice was they had these little games. So you'd walk in and they're like, shh, go see Frankie upstairs. And, you'd have to go find Frankie and you'd get a pin. Or you'd get into the back room where you would quote unquote upload the rogue video that took over the eCorp stage as they were introducing eCoin. There's also some free food too that went on. So that
there seems to have been some brilliant activations this year. Did you manage to get to the Westworld one, which has been well documented?
Oh my God, no, I have not gotten to that. I had a couple of opportunities to. I simply did not make it a priority.
Okay.
It's like New York, it's like San Diego, is you pick your priorities. I will say that the swag from Westworld was jaw-droppingly amazing. This cowboy hat was just, it's a real hat. This is $100 hat here at least, white or black. But I did not go to it. I didn't. I love Westworld, but it wasn't at the top of my priority list.
Fair enough. Okay, so we've talked about the general sense of the event, and it does seem like they really have managed to cram in as much as they possibly can in every possible corner. Obviously, there have been one or two elements of the show which are a little bit controversial, which we weren't able to talk about on last week's show because it didn't happen. But certainly, I think it was on the month. Well, it was. Was it last week? Yes, it was when we had the incidents in Las Vegas, and therefore the cancellation of the Punisher panel. Was that something that weighed on people's minds, and has there been many conversations about whether it should have gone ahead?
A lot of people have felt as though it should have gone ahead. If I can speak for everybody who's at con of 180,000 people,
sure.
Because why not? But the general feeling was that it should have gone ahead. I can see why it didn't. There have been no incidences here in terms of security that I've noticed or heard talked about at all, 100%. There are metal detectors. There are bag checks.
Well, these were security ramp-ups that were introduced last year. So I'm guessing it's on the same kind of level as last year.
It feels that way to me. Yes, it does. It seemed normal. It didn't seem as though that it really hindered things. I walked up. Now, granted, I've got a press pass. I walked up probably at about 9 o'clock, 9:30. Was able to get into the Starbucks line, because that was that was the hard line to get into.
A free bar. A reminder there. That's just...
No, that was Thursday night. I've been very good since then. Yes, no. That was my one night of fun, and there was no dancing, so it was. But I met up with Brooke later on, who's also a writer, and she had a Funko party to go to. So we were. I'm going to move on from here. I think that's the best thing to do.
Fair enough. That makes sense. Sense. Okay. Well, certainly you've got that panel. I think the only other controversy that's really kicked in, certainly online, regarding New York Comic-Con, has been Marvel. They have done so many good things in terms of what they wanted to reveal and release this time round. DC, same drill. I mean, both companies, or most of the major companies, have had some amazing headlining news. But then Marvel did kind of make this PR blunder of the announcement of their deal with Northrop Grumman, which is a military arms manufacturer. They were going to be releasing a comic which was going to be a wave to talk about Northam's STEM sort of the background to that. I'm guessing none of this has even reached the show floor by the looking of your face.
I have not heard word one about that.
Wow. Okay.
I know nothing about it. When you said Marvel controversy, I was thinking you were talking about the way they managed the ticket pulls for the events at the Marvel panel, at the
Fair
Marvel
enough.
signings yesterday.
Okay. Well, tell you what, let me, for our audience, let me just do a quick background on that, because I will also preface this by saying that one or two people have been wondering why there hasn't been much of a response from New York Comic-Con and from the artists online. At the end of the day, they're at the show, and they're only really going to start responding to this as of Monday, Tuesday, when they actually get back to their emails, as it were. But yeah, let me
put it to you this way. Let me put it to you this way. I just found out that there was another hurricane in the Gulf today.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think I mean, when it becomes to a news bubble, I think New York Comic-Con pretty much sums that up. But yeah, this was going to be a planned a signing event and also a reveal of this comic on the Saturday morning. They announced the details of it on Friday, at which point social media just took off, as it usually is wont to do. And by Saturday morning, the whole thing had been cancelled. I believe by Saturday afternoon, the entire deal had been cancelled between Marvel and Northrop Grumman. But yeah, it certainly seems that from what Alyssa was saying, it just, yeah, no one's really heard about it on the actual show floor itself. Let me just go to the camera there, because Alyssa was giving us a little bit of a tour of
I'm trying to.
Yeah.
Stumbling just a little bit.
No
you
worries.
Can see, I think you can see how crowded it is.
I'm just going to say, I mean, Kevin was talking about it being quiet for a Sunday, but that still looks busy to me.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think I'm trying to get there. That's in the background. You kind of see the Marvel booth right there, and I'm just panning around so you can kind of see up. Sorry, I'm doing this on my laptop, guys, so it's
no worries. No worries.
Yeah, it's unlike I usually do it on my phone, so I can really have an idea of where I'm pointing things. But you see the gaming area, I think, over there.
I mean, well, I remember sort of you doing similar camera work for us last year, and there wasn't that many people. There was, you could see more of the carpet last year.
Yeah. Well, this is Sunday, and this. Yeah, well, it was Sunday last year too. I'm just kind of trying to look there. I think you're seeing the image booth. Can you see the Red Diamond image booth?
Yeah, that would be the new Shonen Jump title from them. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's where you start to get. That's where you start to get into the real crowds over by Kyoto Buku. God, I probably mispronounced that horrendously. Sorry, guys.
I'm seeing the Valiant booth there, front and center.
Yeah. So that's, it kind of gives you an idea of how everything is laid out. You've got the Marvel Lego Marvel superheroes. There was no minifigs this year. Keep in mind that you've got a whole nother probably half of the floor on the other side of the press area. The press area is on top of the floor for and has these little windows that we're able to utilize for picture taking.
How's it felt in terms of the booth? I mean, how's the DC booth been? How's the Marvel booth been? Has it felt nicely busy?
The Marvel booth, they don't have any T-shirts this year. They're just, all they have is pins. Yeah, I was kind of hoping, no. They let me. I preface that I'm female centric. Sorry, they don't have any women's T-shirts this year. Yeah. So well. Yeah.
No, they had this. Yeah, no, they had this problem at San Diego as well. Same drill. But never mind. Okay.
So. Yeah. The DC booth, to be honest with you, I don't remember it. I don't think I've even been there. They did have a signing for Dirk Gently in the IDW booth, which was rather fun. So you have that kind of hype on the floor occurring, with the larger signings. I think that, I'm not sure where the John Byrne signing was, but I believe it was on the floor, and as was the Frank Miller signing. But yeah, there seems like there's a few, the few types of problems that we're seeing are logistical with regards to the how the lines worked.
Sure.
With so we're seeing some issues with regards to that, being with the lotteries and how that actually played through.
Okay.
We're going to go into that at some point.
Sure. Let's go into the Q&A. We've got Karen Session, who's saying that the Saturday admission, you had to walk around an entire block before getting to security. On the show floor, they don't seem to have enough people directing crowds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That could very easily be. I mean, I don't see, they're in pink shirts, and I don't see one pink shirt anywhere in sight, and I'm overlooking the main, the main part of the floor. I have been able to find
I think that speaks volumes, then, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've been able to, in terms of the general admission, I don't know. I have a feeling that kind of works into when you get there. I came up at around 9 o'clock through the general admission door because it was raining cats and dogs. Excuse me. But serious rain at Con, and was able to walk straight into, with all of the other people, straight into the building. And this was 9 o'clock, and get into the Q hall on a Sunday morning. So I don't, maybe, I don't know what happened on Saturday.
Fair enough. You were talking earlier about the Black Heroes Matter panel. We've got Aaron Neighbours, who's watching from his, I believe he's headed home today. Basically, he's saying that he has interviewed the creator, Urias, at San Diego Comic-Con. It's on wholeh.com, so if you want to check that out and find out more about the actual Black Heroes Matter panel, kind of sense of background to that. So there we go. Okay.
Absolutely.
I think what we can then talk about then is what we can actually take away from New York Comic Con 2017 then. In terms of your own response, it sounds like it's been an overriding success with one or two niggles. I mean, certainly the lottery hasn't gone as smoothly as people have hoped, and certainly the crowd seemed to be just something that still needs to be looked at.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that it's just the nature of the changing focus. One of the questions that we talked to Mike Armstrong about was how the refocusing of the Repop organization, how bringing those into one person is responsible for one show, and they stayed on that show for the entire year, as opposed to jumping from show to show. I think that's beginning to pay off, and I think that that's why we're seeing more panels of interest in the New York that are more relatable to New York people, and I think that's great. I really appreciate that, and I think it's really paying off for them. The lines, the lottery, and the lines. At some point, we've got talk of doing an article for that, and I think I'm going to vet it with Mike Armstrong and see if he wants to make some comments and suggestions. So that's I've talked to a lady who does our lines article, Brooklyn. NCDS, and that's in the works. So we are going to be paying attention. to that down the road. Absolutely. The press area, it was absolutely well run. It's just they treat press so well here, and I really do.
This is where I try to avoid bringing up comments like this, because it just rubs people's faces in it. You see, that's just mean.
I'm sorry, Leonard, and I would have loved to have shown you here, shown you this. I look forward to you coming next year so I can take you through everything. And we got to make it, you know, we got to make it a plan, definitely. I did have a friend come in from San Diego Comic-Con. A good longtime friend of mine came in, and he was mostly off on his own. You know, we didn't hang out a lot, but he was not as enthusiastic about New York Con as he is about San Diego. And I have a feeling that's because New York Con is set in Midtown Manhattan. And so you have cosplayers wandering around 8th and 9th Avenue in full dress, and amongst British tourists, British and European tourists, and, you know, Asian, and, you know, all sorts of things. So it doesn't take over the city as much as it does. So I think that's why if you come at it, New York Con, with a different attitude, like it's a different con, it's as big but not the same. I think
Gotcha.
you'll be in good stead.
Fair enough. Can you wrap it up in a sort of in a bow, in a sense of what you felt about New York Comic-Con this year?
As people know, I've been shifting focus from doing panels and exclusives to doing parties and interactions and press events, and I have thoroughly enjoyed my con. I may not have gotten everything I wanted from the con. I didn't meet, as my friend did, stars in the elevator, you know, but I can't wrap it up in a bow, but take it for what it's worth and take it on face value and enjoy the con. So
okay.
Geek Tribe.
Excellent stuff.
So,
I mean, the one thing I'm taking away from what I'm reading on social media is, in the past, New York Comic-Con has very much been, because it is at the end of the day a business-led organization, ReedPop, that's behind New York Comic-Con. They have been very much a case of focusing on the headliners, the ones that are absolutely going to get people through the door. Now, people are through the door. It's something that people attend almost as a matter of course now, and now they can take a little bit more risk in terms of their content, and I'm finding that that's encouraging. It's good, because with San Diego, at the end of the day, it's a curated panel of content, and therefore they can put little nuggets around, and it's big enough to accommodate lots of little panels. Now it's a case of New York Comic-Con being able to put those panels on, which may not get the 150, 200, 300 people through the door. Just little small gems. Yeah,
I like this deception, the deception panel that I went to, or the John Byrne panel that I went to. You know, those are they're wonderful, wonderful to see, you know, see a magician get up on stage and do these amazing tricks, like I just saw a few minutes ago, or John Byrne being John Byrne.
Fair enough. So. Okay. Excellent stuff. Thank you very much indeed for that report there, Alyssa. We're going to blitz through the rest of the news in as quick as we possibly can. I don't know if you want to stick around for this, or if you have stuff to do.
Yeah, well, I have a week in TV.
You see, I thought I'd get away with this. Damn it. Okay,
no.
Never mind.
Okay. Not this week.
Okay, fair enough. I'll tell you what then, let's go through very quickly certainly the headlines that have been announced this week in terms of San Diego Comic-Con have announced. This was on late, for here in the UK, late Thursday night, early Friday morning. This is the badge prices that have been updated on the the site, on the official San Diego Comic-Con site. The prices have been updated. A small listing has been put up, and yes, we do have a price increase. Thankfully, it isn't as much as you think. Daily prices have gone up by $3 a day for adults and $2 for Sunday, bringing the cost for a total weekend to $231, $276 if you include preview night, which hasn't gone up. Juniors and US military seniors get a price hike of $1 a day. On the website, I have put on our usual USD to GBP conversion, so you do get a sense of what the conversion is for UK attendees, and it does come to around £220 for 4-day plus preview if you're buying in the UK at the moment. But you are looking at $276 4-day plus preview for American attendees. Do head to an Englishman in San Diego, or indeed head to the badge purchasing page of the unofficial Comic-Con international website. All the information is there as listed. It does also kind of give you a sense of movement very early on from CCI, and that we could be seeing the returning badge sale sooner rather than later. So I think that's rather encouraging that we are now back to an early timetable for CCI. So that's that. Excellent stuff indeed. Let's see. I don't know if there's been much chatter in terms of the price increase, perhaps, on the forum. Did you catch anything?
I have not caught anything at all about that.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Well, so
okay, fair enough. Okay, but those are the price increases. Like I say, not a massive amount, but now, like I put on the bottom of the of my page, it is now a question of whether it is still feeling that it is still worth the cost to attend San Diego. At the end of the day, if you could see everything, then this price is more than enough value. At the end of the day, for what you actually have making up San Diego Comic-Con, that price isn't entirely insane. But at the end of the day, how much do you get to see in 4 days of San Diego Comic-Con? So yeah, any comments, of course, put them in the Q&A, or put them at the bottom of the article, of course, any that you feel. I know that I sort of spotted 1 or 2 comments about people saying that even up to 4 or 5 years ago, it wasn't anywhere remotely near this high. So at the end of the day, it's still a totally different event from what it was 4 or 5 years ago. Okay, the next thing that I want to bring up is the panel editions for a couple of events that have been announced. First and foremost, Stan Lee's LA Comic-Con, which has been announced. This is going to be another big show. This is the 7th year that Stan Lee's Comic-Con is going to go ahead. It's going to be headlined with Entertainment Weekly, who are going to be teaming up with the actual with the organizers to put this on. And yeah, it's looking like it's going to be a fun show in Los Angeles, considering that they have confirmed a number of items. Certainly it's going to be taking place on the Saturday. Melissa Joan Hart is going to be part of a reunion panel for Sabrina the Teenage Witch, which is going to feature Beth Broderick, Nate Richard, Nick Beckey, Alimai Ballard, sorry, who was the quizmaster, and you've also got Alyssa Donovan from Clueless and Soleil Moon Fry from Punky Brewster. So you've got that. You've also got yourself a Quantum Leap tribute, which is more of interest to me, because that is a show that I feel deserves its place in the pantheon of genre television. Scott Bakula is going to be on board, along with Donald Belisario. You know what? I didn't even think that man still existed. I thought he was kind of like this strange, ethereal character that just sort of like made television shows, and it's sort of like almost like this strange Hollywood figure. But no, the pair of them are going to be on stage for the Quantum Leap tribute. And then also on the Saturday, you've got Katie Sackhoff, who's going to be leading a panel of actresses for the Women Who Kick Ass Sci-Fi edition. which is going to be a lot of fun by the sounds of things. They always are a lot of fun, those particular panels. So yeah, if you want to head to stanleeslacomiccon.com, all the information is there, and of course you can find out about buying tickets. And yeah, you also get yourself a 1-year subscription to Entertainment Weekly. Isn't that a bargain? Fantastic. So
I think we may have we may be able to get a con appearance from. So we may be able to get a live report from that con. So I'm keeping my fingers. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for that one, Aaron.
Fair enough. Excellent stuff. Okay, so that's that one, and then we have ourselves Ace Comic-Con. This is being put together by Ace Universe. They've got 2 shows that they've got lined up already. You've got Ace Comic-Con Long Island, and you also have Ace Comic-Con in Arizona. Long Island is going to be taking place over the weekend of the 8th, 9th, and 10th of December. And you've got Arizona that's going to be taking place on January 13th, 14th, and 15th. As you may or may not know, Ace Universe, while this is a new company, this is being made up of the guys that originally put together Wizard World, and this is now their new event or events that they're going to be taking on. Some pretty big names, actually, considering you do have at the Long Island event, you've got Henry Cavill and Gal Gadot, which are confirmed, which obviously off the back of today's trailer release for Justice League is obviously going to be a lot of fun. That's going to be taking place at the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum. And then in January, you have the other side of the aisle, going to Marvel. You've got Chris Evans and Tom Holland, who are going to be appearing. All the information, of course, is going to be is featured on aceuniverse.com, so do check them out. But you have a listing so far, including when it comes to Long Island, you've got Ray Fisher, who's going to be showing up, Ezra Miller, Jason Momoa. So you basically have the Justice League, shy of Mr. Batman himself. So you've got that happening. You've got in Arizona, you've got Sebastian Stan, Anthony Mackie, Haley Atwell, basically all the Marvel crowd. So yeah, interesting that they've split it down as much as they have done. But yeah, those are 2 events that are going to be coming up in December and January. Do check out aceuniverse.com for those. Right, I mean, those are 2 new events. I'm hoping that we'll be able to get possibly a couple of live reports, but then again, it's all down to whether people are willing to take the chance on these events.
It's interesting that we've got the original promoters of Wizard World are doing Ace. I had heard something that they were. I just didn't know the name of their new company. I have heard David G. mentioned to me that the Wizard World in Madison, Wisconsin, a couple of weeks ago was not nearly as well attended or produced as it had been in previous years. So it does seem that there is a shift, into fan expos, Ace, these types of conventions, which is good. It's a good thing. I think it just it adds to the geek culture.
Sure.
Did you see
that? As Andrew English points out as well, there's usually nothing for cons during December and January. So this is taking something into a realm of the con calendar, which is of interest.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. I have not seen the Justice League trailer. I did. I know that was one of the main stage panels here today. That was. There was a lot of people who really wanted to go see that panel today. So I know that there was a few people in amongst my crowd who made a beeline for that, foregoing coffee. So did you happen to see the trailer?
I did. I managed to see it the second it dropped, and I have put something up on the site as well. Do check it out. 1 or 2 people are a little bit wary of it at the end of the day, because I don't know what they're expecting, frankly. It's very difficult to kind of get a sense of what an audience actually wants, and I think personally that the Justice League is one of those things that they have to kind of nail reasonably well. I personally found it interesting. I think it doesn't tell us anything new. It gives a sense of a tone of what they want to do. You can kind of sense a couple of lines that where maybe Joss has had his influence. Yeah, I think it's going to be it's going to be cool. And I for one, I'm going to be there on opening night when the thing comes out.
Speaking of movies, Blade Runner 49 has been getting absolutely that a lot of people are really talking about how they, we've got to go see that one, and so I'm really looking forward to seeing that. I haven't seen it yet. Maybe we'll do a mini conversation about it next week.
I think that would be. I think that'd be the perfect time. Actually, people have been saying online that I've been hearing nothing but brilliant reviews for the actual film, but I've also been seeing the numbers today that it has not done as well as people have expected when it comes to its box office. At the end of the day, I think the target audience is at New York Comic-Con. So it's slightly. It's
not all on us. No, it's not on all.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But I also think that perhaps it's also maybe a film that people have the expectation of the original, and they thought that they want to know that they're not going to be wasting their money going in to see the sequel. And from what I've been hearing from the reports, you won't be doing. So no, I'm up to seeing it myself.
With the director Villeneuve, and I think I've got the pronunciation actually correct. There's no chance that at all that it's going to be that. He also did. I know longtime listeners know I'm a fan of his, and he did Arrival, also one of my all-time favorite movies out there. So he's definitely one of those directors to watch. And all.
Cool.
But speaking of things to watch.
Go for it. Go for it.
Notice how I segue right into that.
Very impressive.
The CW has Supergirl, Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow, Riverdale, and Supernatural all premiering this week. So, all of the people who follow those kinds of shows, those shows are deep in it. And they're starting. So Crazy Ex-Girlfriend and Jane the Virgin is also coming back this week too. We've got a new show called Valor, which is a female fighter pilot. I'm going to give it a chance and hope it doesn't get too schmaltzy, but we'll see. There is a new show which has been doing a lot of hype at the convention this here. War. They've got a large activation on the main concourse. Had a well-attended panel. A lot of people really wanted to go see that. So that's getting a lot of really good buzz. Spooky. I forget what all it's about. I've even done the write-up. I'll get back to that one next week. I am going to take a listen to that when I get home. My all-time favorite, Mr. Robot, is coming back this week. Just that eCoin party, just absolute best. We've also got Voltron, Legendary Defender is on Netflix coming back this week too. And just for something completely different, the Robot Chicken Walking Dead special is happening too, which, yes, I am going to record and watch. Dirk Gently is back. So I think what this says is that all of these shows have had a presence here and are promoting their show to get the buzz going on. And of course, Shannara Chronicles, which I've already gone into, is coming back on Wednesday. It is in the Week in Television, which has already been published on the blogs on my blog site. We say goodbye to The Last Ship, Mr. Mercedes, Dice, and Room 404. So we are heavy into the fall television season. Clear off the DVRs.
Well, yeah, Andrew English is saying DVR overload. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're in the golden age. I was even talking to a bunch of people in the press room, and we're just like, there's too many shows. There's too many good shows to watch.
What's been the response in New York for Star Trek Discovery?
Good.
What's your response been to it? As a Trekker?
Yeah, as a Trekkie, I've just seen the first episode, the one that was broadcast for free. I am going to shortly. I'm going to switch over from discontinue HBO and pick up CBS All Access so I can binge it. I'm probably going to pick up Hulu too because I still haven't seen Handmaid's Tale and Maid's Tale, and that's just Margaret Atwood is, you know. She was God when I was growing up, and was able to, just that book really had an impact on me, and I'm ashamed to know that I haven't seen the show yet. A lot of cosplay for those characters from Handmaid's Tale is out there. I was the only Jyn Erso that I've seen all weekend, so
fair enough.
There you go.
Listen, that may all change tomorrow when, of course, we do have the Star Wars Last Jedi trailer hitting, which is going to be first released as part of Monday Night Football and then hit the wider world. So, yeah, tomorrow evening, the Star Wars fans come out of the woodwork. So it's going to be fun. Yeah, lots and lots of stuff to see. If you are watching anything, let us know, either in the comments below or on our, excuse me.
Uh-oh. Leonard is not feeling well, and so I think if there's anything you're watching, let us know on our Twitter feed as well, and we'll try and keep up with it, and we'll try and make a comment on next week's show. It's time to wrap it up.
I think that sounds like a plan. Where can people find you online, Alyssa? And indeed, where can people find you today? Where are you heading today?
Today I will be at the Talkback panel. I will be recording it, and I will be posting it as soon as I can, upload it. And it's going to be rough. It's going to be raw, and I will just put it into the forum so people can hear what is saying. I may even get up and say a comment about bathrooms because the women's room issues are just... Okay. People can find me on @FriendsOfCCI for my Twitter handle, and always on the my website, friendsofcc.com, for both the forum and the blog. Excellent. And where can people find you, Leonard?
You can find me on all the social medias at Englishman SDCC, and of course you can find my bits and pieces on my website, anenglishmaninsandiego.com. If you'd like to support the podcast or indeed the website or anything that we do, please do either send a load of Lemsip, paracetamol, or ibuprofen to my home address, or you can donate at patreon.com/EnglishmanSDCC. We had the donations come through this week, and I really do appreciate everybody who puts their hand in the pocket and allows us to keep doing what we do, because it really has helped us pay for hosting, and it allowed me to just, it allows us to do what we do. So thank you very much indeed. We are trying our best to put on exclusive stuff for the Patreons, certainly a little bit early. We've put the audios from the panels from Meanwhile Comic-Con from last week on the site this week. They are going to be available publicly as of tomorrow, but for the Patreons, they've had that for a whole week. So it's just a way for me to give back, and we will try and do more of that between now and San Diego to provide value for money for those people who are donating and supporting the site. So thank you so much. So that's been our show today. Thank you again to Alyssa. Thank you very much indeed to Kevin for giving us that live report. Once again, thank you very much indeed to everybody who gave me messages of support this week. Yes, I will do my best to try and feel closer to 100% next Sunday.
I do want to add one quick thing. Shout out to Corey Commander, who wanted to be here today. Unfortunately, a family emergency happened, and he was not able to because of an event that happened last night. We don't know details. It's
we don't need to know. Corgi, thank you very much indeed for the offer. At least, thank you so much, and hopefully we will get him on at some point. I
was really looking forward to chatting with him.
He's a good guy. If you haven't followed Jason Koh, Corgi Commander on Twitter, he's a friend to con artists and con merchants everywhere. So yeah, follow the guy. He's a top bloke. So there we go. Right.
See you next week.
Go off. Enjoy the rest of the New York Comic-Con, and from everyone else, thank you so much indeed. You never know. I might do one of those live Jedi trailer reaction things tomorrow. It's unlikely. No, it's unlikely. I may just curl up into a ball and die.
I think you should stay in bed for another few days.
I think that sounds like a bloody good idea. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll hope to see you again next week for another Talkin Comic-Con.
Bye-bye, guys.